Hey guys, welcome back to the Geek Plan. I'm Jeff.
Jason.
We are back with our review of The Defenders on Netflix from Marvel, which brings all of their characters they've done in the last 2 years full circle and bring them together in their own little team up. We're going to kind of discuss our overall thoughts on the show, and we're not going to break it down episode by episode. We're just going to go over the points of the show, like the plot and the characters and the acting and that kind of stuff, like choreography. We're not doing an episode by episode breakdown. That would take too long, and so we're not going to draw it out. But so you watched it yesterday or the day before?
Yesterday.
Okay. What were your initial, just quick initial impressions of the show?
First off, I was excited. I could not wait to dive into it. I honestly have watched all two Daredevils, Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, which I really like Jessica Jones. I didn't think I was going to, honestly. Iron Fist, honestly, is the only one that I still haven't finished. I cannot do it. It's awful. I'm sorry. I can't handle it. But my initial reaction towards the show was I was really receptive of everything. I thought it could have went a little faster, I think, as far as getting the characters kind of together instead of drawing it out, because when you told me I was almost done with the show, because I really didn't look and see how many episodes there really was.
Yeah.
I was kind of blown and taken away, because I think they could have made it a little longer, to be honest, answered a lot more questions. But I mean, as far as developing the characters and everything like that and getting us ready for this, I thought they did a really good job. I think we all got, good enough backstories for each character. We kind of know who they are. You're not jumping into this show just completely blind, not knowing, how this person got their abilities, how this person, I mean, I really love Luke Cage's, and how they kind of told his story, but, yeah, I mean, from the beginning of the series, I was really into it. I mean, it was pausing to go to the bathroom, pausing to get me a drink, and that was it. I mean,
Yeah.
I was really engulfed into the actual show. Yeah.
So overall, you liked it?
Once we got towards the end, it kind of lost me.
Really?
I really think it did. I don't know what the hell that ending was, to be honest. You think Daredevil's dead, and then he's laying up in some hospital. The Black Sky, Elektra,
She's probably dead, though, I'm guessing.
Dead.
Oh yeah, by the way, spoilers.
Yeah. If you
I'll
haven't
put
watched,
a tag at the beginning so you guys know it's coming anyway.
But I don't know. I just was so lost in that last episode. It was so much shit going just in different directions, and they're down in a tunnel and they're fighting, and then they're up and they're running away from this bomb that they're trying to escape from. And another, I'm a very detailed person when it comes to watching shows, and I kind of laughed when the building came down, because they maybe were 20 feet away from the building, and there wasn't a single ounce of residue or smoke or anything from an entire, how many was it, 40-story building collapsing down into flames. I got a kick out of that, and I think my favorite scene, honestly, was whenever I think it was Jessica Jones hit that old lady with that big big pipe.
Did she hit Gal?
Honestly, I think I laughed for probably 20 minutes and rewound it about 3 times. That was my favorite part of the whole show.
Yeah. So overall, it didn't connect with you all the way.
Overall, no. I mean, it really didn't. I mean, I felt like, and if I have to put an analogy in it, man, I mean, you get that big build up to the climax, and it was just
it let you down.
It let me down after the third. Actually, I shouldn't even say the third. I got further into it, honestly. I think about into the 5th episode is when I finally just started going, what the hell really is all this about? I mean, Elektra, I mean, as a villain, I was just.
She's one of the most dangerous characters in the Marvel
She
universe.
is. She's dangerous, and if she wasn't just in so much of the second season of Daredevil, I probably would have been a little more into it. But like, she was pretty much throughout that entire second series of Daredevil, and then she's like, now she's the bad guy. You don't know what she's up to. You kind of think like she might actually be coming to the good side. That was the part that got me. And then the Sigourney Weaver, when she kills her, that was probably the only time where I was like, you got me. I did not see that coming.
Oh yeah, I didn't either. That was kind of out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Overall, for me, I actually really liked it. The Elektra thing for me, I liked. Because I invested in her character in Daredevil season 2. Mm-hmm. Matt was in love with her. They were in love, and he lost her. He held her in his arms as she died, and they brought her back, basically, and spit in his face like, "Look what we did with with Stick as well. Look what we did with your creation that you trained and raised to be this great person, this great warrior. Look what we did with it. We turned it on it. We brought her back." Basically as a different. I mean, it's like, how far are you into Iron Fist?
Boy.
Well,
that's tough.
Harold Meacham was brought back by the substance, right?
Because Danny Rand is the Iron Fist, right? How many damn times did he have to say that?
Yeah.
I mean, honestly.
Well, what I was getting to is that when. I don't know if I don't know. Are you gonna finish Iron Fist?
I'm gonna. I mean, I want to. I need to go back and finish it.
How many times has Harold died in the show where you are?
I think only once.
Okay.
Honestly, I'm not very far into that. He's
definitely came back wrong, kind of thing. Once you die, you don't come back whole.
Right.
And that's what they did with Elektra, but they took it to another level with that. Mm-hmm. And they talked about the Black Sky as a weapon in season 2 of Daredevil, which, by the way, I haven't seen for a while, so I kind of need to go back and refresh on the Black Sky. But we didn't know that was her. Well, they wanted her to be Black Sky, but she rejected that. But they didn't realize that she had to die to become the Black Sky. That was the whole point. I thought everything connected well. I thought the way they brought the characters together to meet at Midland Financial was pretty cool. Like, everybody starts like pulling threads of the hand in the beginning, and they all kind of come together at that financial place where Danny Rand goes to confront them as a CEO instead of the Iron Fist, and they're all there together, and then Daredevil's still very, reserved about doing anything or helping anybody or giving away too much about himself because he wants out of that life. He's done with it, but he had to come back. He was there, so he kind of had to do what he had to do. And then with Elektra being brought back, so he kind of pulls him back in, but that scene where they're in the restaurant, like, there's 2 episodes like that starts with them in the restaurant, then the second episode in the restaurant they're fighting.
Yeah,
I really liked that arc, and also how it showed how Matt didn't pay attention to the team dynamic and left to go after Elektra, and that screwed them all over. And just I thought everything worked the way they laid the groundwork to get them to where they got to. The Alexandra thing, like Sigourney Weaver's character dying, was a twist that I didn't see coming at all. I'll get into this later. I'm really not going to talk about that right now. I'm not gonna, I did like it. The ending, what I didn't like about the ending was it was missing an Avengers moment because they deserve to be recognized for what they did. Mm-hmm. And I understand Jessica Jones doesn't want to be. They should have just put her on blast anyway and did it. And she probably would have thanked him for it anyway. And Matt wasn't, I understand. At first I was mad because they didn't get that moment like, hey, the Defenders saved New York. But in Defender comic series, they're not that kind of a team like the Avengers. They're not in the forefront. They're not in the media. They're in the shadows.
Right.
Kind of defending New York without everybody knowing. So after I started thinking about that more, I'm like, okay, that makes more sense. The way that they ended it with Daredevil dying and then coming back to life, what I think happened is I think probably him and Elektra she got a hold of the substance and probably brought him back to life, is what I'm thinking. So, but I think Gao and Bakudo Bakudo's dead. Mm-hmm. And I don't know the other, there's Alexandra, Gao, Bakudo, Sawande, and then that other Asian character, the other one of the fingers of the hand. I don't know his name, but overall, I really enjoyed it. It was a little tiny bit slow at first, and then it slowed down a little bit more. Then it kind of got picked up. But from what they did with it, how they kind of ran everything together, how everything met, and how everything mixed to get them where they had to get to at the end, the fight scene in the like the very bottom of the hole at the entrance to the Kunlun Dragon spot, where they played "Protect Your Neck" by Wu-Tang Clan.
Oh yeah,
was freaking amazing.
Yeah, their music choice. Their music choice had me going. I mean, they played "Run the Jewels" in the scene where they were fighting them.
Is that the one that was in the office where they're in the top of that was "Run the Jewels"? That's what I thought. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, all of that was great. Like you said, the way they brought them together, that was one of my favorite parts because they all kind of did their own little detective work, and it was like they all came to that conclusion at the same moment. And that's when they realized, the only way we're going to be able to tackle these guys is together.
Yeah.
And the restaurant scene was great. Like when Jessica Jones came busting through the wall with the SUV and basically just smashed Elektra. That was pretty cool too.
Mm-hmm.
It was great. Like I said, I just felt like right around episode 5 and 6 is where I just started getting like I wouldn't say lost. I became less and less attached to it. And then that ending to me, I mean, now that you kind of explain it the way you see it, maybe that does kind of intrigue me a little more to wonder like maybe that is what happened.
Yeah.
I just saw it as like a silly sacrifice love story. He sacrificed his life to save her, but now
also they always wanted to be together.
Mm-hmm.
Even Daredevil season 2, it never worked because of who they were.
Right.
They even said that at the bottom of that hole towards the end, like we're punished for being something like about like how they weren't supposed to be together. It never worked, and it wasn't going to work even though they wanted to be together.
Mm-hmm.
It never worked out. So it was kind of like darkly poetic is maybe the way to put it.
It's a way.
But who was your favorite Defender in the series? Like not focusing on their solo series, but who do you think stood out in the Defenders series itself?
I mean, I like Luke Cage. I mean, honestly, I think just if not even going back on his original, his origin story, which still I think is one of my favorites too.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's really good.
I thought it was really, really well done. Mm-hmm. But it's kind of a toss up between him and Jessica.
I was gonna say Jessica too.
Jessica Jones.
Yeah.
Like I said, when they first announced that they were going to do that show, I cringed at it because I wasn't too into her character, and then just from what I saw, and then the whole Purple Man, Kilgrave.
Yeah.
I mean, I was a little disappointed to find out that he wasn't going to be a purple skinned man. But if you're going to do something to kind of make it feel more modern and not so comic booky, I guess, making him just walk around in a purple suit, I get it. It's great. There was even that kind of pay homage point where I think like his eyes or something turned purple.
Yeah.
I have to go back and watch it again too. It's
great series.
Series. But between that, I mean, I love both those characters and the way they transitioned into this show, because I feel like they kept it from being the bland, just kind of kung fu-ish type karate, Daredevil, and because even that part where Jessica Jones is like,
everybody know karate?
Does everybody know karate? Yeah.
Like,
she killed it on that. I was like, it's so on point because
it really is.
I mean, I know it's an action movie. Don't get me wrong, I do. But like, it's the year 2017, and we got motherfuckers out there with ninja, swords and throwing stars. Like that scene also in the restaurant where like the African gun runner guy.
One of the fingers of the hand.
Yeah, he shows up with his guys, and they just start spraying the place with bullets.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a damn relief now to see an action scene with guns because everything was just kicks, punches, and
Swords.
great. It's great action. It is, but like when you look at it and you sit back and think about it, you know, and what the times that we're in, it's like, are people really out there fighting with swords?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I understand.
Ancient clan, from Kunlun. Yeah,
yes,
basically. So
yes, you got to protect your neck.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
I don't know. Like it was so refreshing to see that
Guns,
it's just a scene. Hell, they could have maybe a rocket launcher or something like that too would have spiced it up. But no, I think that like having those two in the show,
they stood out for you.
They stood out just because they kept it from just being this just nonstop punch kick hi-ya thing. They're just brutal, like ass kicking machines that just like they could hit you once and knock you through a wall.
Yeah. I all of four of them stood out for me. Luke, of course, stood out more than others, and Jessica too. But my standout was Danny Rand. Versus his solo series, I thought he did way better. Like, I think the actor Finn Jones stepped it up to another level with his performance in this show. I didn't hate him in Iron Fist either. A lot of people said he was, too naive of a character, but the dude grew up in Kunlun since he was a kid. He didn't know the real world, didn't know backstabbing, didn't know that kind of stuff, how it worked in the real world. So he learned it towards the end of Iron Fist. And when you watch Iron Fist, you'll appreciate it more towards the end. It does get much better in the last few episodes. But I thought he stood out in this quite a bit.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to see season 2. And I pray that he gets a costume. I have to see it.
Yeah.
I want to see the green and gold. I want to see it. Just give me, maybe even the guy that does Daredevil's costumes, make him make it for him.
Well, I like too how they hinted at the whole team up between him and Luke Cage. Iron Man and Power Man and Iron Fist.
Me too. Yeah,
that's
because back in the older comics, it was Power Man and Iron Fist. Yeah,
Power Man and Iron Fist. When they kind of hinted at that, I kind of got a little giddy too because I was just like, I know that they have their own series, but like they can only go so far with it. But if you put those two together, it's like a whole nother ball game in a whole nother direction they can go in to kind of not have to make this super show with all the Defenders.
Well, technically, what they could do is they could do season 2 of Luke Cage and Iron Fist and have them both in their own shows with them, but have like different angles and different sides of it in both series. But have them on the same path, and they do go in and out of each other's storyline. But both shows show his side of it and his side of it kind of thing, but they run together. That would be something cool to see.
Even maybe towards like the not a little bit further past the middle of the show, but then they finally start realizing they're a team of superheroes, and then the outfit thing comes. Because Power Man always wore like the headbands, and he always had the deep V shirt.
Do you remember when he broke out of Seagate? He had the metal band on the metal things, and he had that, and he looked in the car, and it was looked like a damn idiot. I was like, that was his 70s outfit
but
on.
That's
right
what
there.
We need, and that's what we want.
I loved it.
I know that you can modernize that, but
I did like how they did have him in a yellow shirt and jeans like he was in the comics, like in a lot of it, because nowadays Luke Cage is in a yellow t-shirt and jeans, and I like that. So we kind of went through our favorite Defenders. I'm kind of going to go through some things. A big standout for me too in the series was Sigourney Weaver. When she was announced to be a villain, or I didn't know what she was going to be at first. I was like, doesn't matter. Whatever she does is going to be amazing. One of my favorite shots of the show. Well, okay, we'll get into favorite scenes here shortly. But one of my favorite things about the show was when Elektra was reborn. It started swinging at Sigourney Weaver's character, and she was like just knocking it out, like whatever. Because we knew that she said it even a few times later how good she was at martial arts.
Yeah,
we saw a glimpse of it, which was good. I was hoping we did get to see more of it.
I was kind of waiting for it in the scene where Bakudo challenged her, or was going to challenge her, and I was like, oh, here we go, we finally get to see it, and then
Black Sky dragged in Iron Fist. But she was a big point in the trailers too, that she was in the show and her character was great, and it was also kind of like another poetic thing where she was dying, and none of them knew it, and she sped up their final plans because she was dying. But I really enjoyed her character in the show. She was a big standout for me with Sigourney Weaver. Did you like what she did in the show?
I did.
Are you a fan of her?
Oh,
on the
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, she is Ridley. I mean, come on, it was a no-brainer, but I really wanted to know, like, I wanted to know. I wish they would have kind of delved into the whole point of when Jessica noticed that all the cursive was the same and
Oh
you
yeah, it's
knew
her
it was
handwriting.
her.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I wish they kind
That's
of
great.
would have made a little backstory episode. You know how like at the beginning they always were like months ago or months prior. I really wish they would have kind of said, you know, they would have shot back to all those times that she was doing that, because it would have kind of made a little more sense as to how far back in time the hand has gone, and what actual role she was doing in, you know, helping keep the hand alive, and what she was, you know, these reasons behind making sure that her existence never ended and her life just kept going. That's another point where like I was waiting on it and it never came. And then boom, she's dead. And I'm like, well,
I know. That was I didn't see that coming from a mile away.
Yeah.
I was like, what? Huh?
I expected her to be there till the end.
My favorite like segment in the show, like sequence, is Elektra's rebirth as Black Sky. Like the beginning of the episode, it comes into Sigourney Weaver's in like in a restaurant, like a Greek restaurant, I think it is, and they make her a dish, and she tells them it's the the guy's wife makes it better than she had back in Constantinople. And he's like, well, didn't you mean Istanbul, because Constantinople is an ancient name, and you realize how old she is. And then somebody comes in and tells her they found Black Sky, and then it cuts to them like going to that ritual to like bring her back. She comes back to life, and then she's against one person, then 2 people, then 4 people, then 10 people with swords. I mean, like that whole sequence was just, choreography was absolutely perfect, stunning, spot on, and makes me think back to Iron Fist. Like, is this a different choreographer? Because whoever did that choreography in that show was god awful. So hopefully they'll learn from that. I know they've talked about it in interviews. Iron Fist 2 will be more slick fight choreography, because it was very choppy editing in Iron Fist and it didn't work very well. But this was like one-shot stuff. But that was my favorite sequence in the show, I think. I like Elektra as a character. I've always liked her in the comics. I mean, I'm not going to get started on how the way they're treating her in the comics now. That's a whole other topic. But
oh yeah,
I've always liked her character, and to see her in this light as the Black Sky, being reborn and relearning to fight and relearning her instincts, was just a brilliant sequence in my opinion. I absolutely loved it.
I couldn't get past her belly button though.
Oh
That
yeah,
damn Audi.
Yeah,
that
I told my wife when we saw it, I'm like, I can't do that.
Yeah. That scene, I was like, couldn't they have CGI'd that damn thing back inside of her or something? That
was a little rough.
Woo.
Yeah. But yeah, I liked that scene with her being reborn as Black Sky. That was great. I did want to bring up something really quickly. There was a cringe moment that involved like a white privilege thing with him and Luke Cage with Iron Fist, and I was like, why is this even happening right now? It doesn't matter what color their skin is. I know the black kids in Harlem were being used, but the hand was using everybody. I don't know why. I've seen a lot of people talk about that too online. Even people who lean left were talking about it. It's like, come on, we don't need that. And we didn't. I really didn't. I checked out for a minute there. I was like, okay, we were really going to do this? So that was very cringy for me to do that. And they moved past it, of course.
Yeah.
But, yeah. When Luke met Danny Rand in the alley, and Luke like just manhandled him like the whole time, and then he lit the fist up and knocked him out. Then when he gets back to Claire's apartment, he's using an ice pack on his face because he got hit by the Iron Fist. But
I like that part too.
Did you like their introduction like that?
I did. I liked the inner conflict that they all had. I mean, it was almost like everybody fought everybody at least some point. I think Jessica was the only one who didn't get her hands dirty with much fighting. It was more like she just left it to the guys to, you know, hash it out like boys do, where they just fight and they talk with their fists and not their mouth. Where, I loved it. I think every time that Danny lit his hand up and ended up using it, it was pure entertainment.
I know.
You know,
I wish they would do that more.
When he used it against Gao and the whole damn, you know, place just kind of collapsed, and I don't know, like, I love the Iron Fist character. I always have. He's always been one of my favorites. That's why I think it was such a travesty to sit there and have to watch that his solo series. And it's not the character. Honestly, I never thought there was any flaw with the character. It was just basically like that, setting up that storyline. So I thought, when I saw him in this series, I was much more into him.
So you were like me, you thought he did better in this one a lot.
Oh, by far. I mean, that it cracked me up how many times, and they even brought it to, even when Jessica kind of made that smart little crack at him too, where he just keeps saying, well, I'm the Iron Fist, and I at first I thought, I was like, is this kind of how they're developing this character? Is like he's just this kind of plain, boring, that's all he can say, and then you kind of realize he's it's almost like a gloating moment. It's all he knows. He grew up in
Kunlun. That's how they taught him. He was a very stout warrior with a very he wasn't like emotional.
Right.
They taught you to keep your anger down. Then the anger comes out of him, and you gotta watch the rest of the Solo series. But I thought he did a better job in this too. I also was funny towards the end when Colleen and Claire were in the police station, and they're talking about Danny, and she's like, yeah. If anybody will listen, he'll tell you that he's the Iron Fist.
Yes.
They kind of poked fun at him a little bit, but I'm going through a few things I have. I have kind of some notes taken, so just kind of going through some different points, and some of them I'm skipping because why I wrote them down, I don't know, but I do like how Jessica figured out that Matt Murdock was Daredevil like that, because she followed him and saw him like jumping up on. She was like, you know what? I know who this dude is.
I mean, she's a PI.
Yeah, she's really good at her job too.
Yeah.
So she does what she does. She puts two and two together. I thought that was really good. This scene where they didn't they basically told Iron Fist that he's we're not letting you go anywhere because they want you, and we're not giving you to them. And him and Matt started fighting.
That was a good, that was another part I should say I didn't see coming with Stick, trying to basically kill him.
Yeah, I didn't see that either,
I didn't see that coming. It kind of finally hit me, or it just hit me like as soon as I saw him start waving the smoke into Luke Cage's face.
Wait a second.
I was like, he's doing that on purpose, and then all of a sudden he starts choking. But I did. That was another point I didn't see coming.
Yeah, I didn't either. Yeah.
I saw him dying for some reason. I just had a gut feeling that he was gonna die. I knew that somebody was going to have to die within that inner circle, and obviously they're not going to kill off the Defenders. He was the last one left. I just didn't see it coming at the hands of Elektra. I would have thought that one of the other fingers would have probably taken his life or something like that. But I think by her killing him, it really did add more to the story.
Yeah.
And it kind of
showed
pushed
there were consequences.
It kind of pushed Matt as far as he still was trying to bring this girl back over to his side, even though she's fighting him to basically every end, and she's killed this guy who's also trained him, all this stuff, and he still is not giving up. So I thought that kind of is. That was the part where I was really starting to get into it, and then
investing,
and then boom, I know every show or every movie has to have some sort of a love aspect to it, I guess. It appeals to certain people,
and it wasn't
very mushy.
Yeah.
I like the way it was actually done. It was just, I think, another point going back to that ending, it's like the whole sacrifice thing. I really wish that there would have been a clear-cut answer as far as what happened to her. I think that it's going to make me want to see the next Daredevil series if that's the angle that they're going, because I want to know, I want to be able to know, like, am I really going to need to be prepared for a whole nother Daredevil Elektra, season, another one. I'm not complaining about it. I'm just saying, like,
as long as they do something different.
As long as there's something else, some other thing thrown in there to kind of keep me wanting to watch more. I mean, having the Punisher in the second season, that was all you needed right there, because he had his whole thing going on with Elektra and Stick and finding the hand, and then on top of it, you got a madman, who's running wild. Having something like that, to me, it makes it kind of keeps me wondering, like, which direction are they going to go now? It's not that one road storyline that a lot of these shows are dealing with when they throw that many different characters in there. But then you get your overkill like Spider-Man 3, where you got freaking villains coming out of every damn end, and then it gets to the point where it's like you're flooded. You don't care. I thought that second season of Daredevil was done perfectly. I loved it. I couldn't watch. I was like, I can't wait to watch. I mean, honestly, I think I watched that whole show in one day. I maybe like missed. I had to watch the finale like the next day. That was what was that, like 9
episodes? I think it was like 13.
Oh, it was long.
Yeah.
I remember how long it was, but like that one, I just kept wanting more, and that's what I was really hoping from this, because of how well I thought Luke Cage was done and all that.
I thought that all mixed really well. So
that
aspect of it makes me want to. I wonder if they're going to do. I know they'll probably end up doing another season of Defenders, because this is Marvel's like bread and butter on. Netflix. A lot of don't see it on Netflix anymore because of the deal with Disney and everything. But
what do you think about, though, that they're already that people are already out there trying to throw the whole? What's going to happen? Are the Defenders and the Avengers ever going to meet?
I think they'll show up in Infinity War for a few minutes. I do.
Do you really?
Yeah, I do. It'll just be only if there's a scene in New York or something happens in New York. I do think they'll show up for a few minutes, because they talk about the incident. These shows they bring that stuff up all the time. They don't bring that stuff up in the movies, but on the TV shows they do, so it's all connected still. But I do think eventually they'll just show up, even if it's just for a couple minutes. I think they will show up in Infinity War, maybe, or the next Avengers, or something, just to give them a little bit of a, tip of the hat, like, hey, these guys kick butt, because out of the Marvel universe on the screen and the small screen is just murdering it.
Yeah.
Like, don't get me wrong, the MCU movies are really good, but what they've done on the small screen has been better. Villains, especially, they've killed it. You want me just kind of keep going through some of the notes here I have for it?
Okay.
Yeah. Finding out Iron Fist is the key to open a door that's been locked by the previous Iron Fist, and realizing that it's the dragon, Sho Lao, that he killed to get the Iron Fist. And then I like the joke that Luke Cage made when him and Danny Rand were talking while Danny was tied up. And Luke says, "I take a dragon over Jessica Jones any day."
Yeah.
That was hilarious. I love those little moments between them. When they're on the subway, when they have to take the subway at the end to get there.
Oh,
they're all sitting on the subway, and she steals that dude's beer out of the bag.
Yeah. It's been a long day.
It's been a long day. I was kind of hoping they all would have grabbed one and just drank it together.
That would have been cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought the ending with Bakuto versus Colleen, and she did end up getting to kill him, was justified, because he was a piece of shit. Had you got to the point where Bakuto was an Iron Fist yet?
I haven't.
Okay, yeah, you need to watch that for sure. It's really cool. One scene too that I thought was really cool. It didn't mean anything. I thought it meant something at first, but then she came back. Was in the last fight scene, towards the end of it, Gao sneaks off back and creeps back in the shadows like she's leaving.
Mm-hmm.
She comes back later to tell that one guy who's impaled this is the end of the hand, basically.
Yes.
I thought she was going to stay gone because she could creep back into the shadows like that, which was a beautifully shot scene.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh, I hope Gao's not dead. I like her character a lot.
I like Gao.
I love what she did in Daredevil. She showed up in Iron Fist. I love that character, and to see her fight as much as we did was so cool.
It's almost like she has that Force aspect of the, kind of Star Wars-esque. She can just, use her chi to basically throw a mountain of bricks. That was pretty badass.
She pushed a car into Luke Cage and pushed him against the wall to where the wall was behind him was breaking. And the fact that she tried to go at Danny when Danny had the fist lit up and it collided with her force, but knocked her back and he didn't get knocked back, was showing how powerful the Iron Fist really is.
Mm-hmm.
I know they probably talk about it in the Marvel comics world, but I wonder how powerful his fist is compared to everybody else. strength-wise.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
I like the scene too whenever he broke the sword when Elektra was getting
Oh
ready.
yeah, that was fantastic.
She's just getting ready to impale Matt, and all of a sudden, his fist just comes out of nowhere and just smashes and knocks her through a wall. I thought that was pretty badass too. I was kind of stoked about that.
Yeah, I geek out a little bit when he lights that fist up because I love seeing that go, and that's why I wish like in a solo series and even in this that he uses the Iron Fist more. He did a lot more in this, like a lot more, especially in that last scene.
Mm-hmm.
He had it lit up almost the whole time he was fighting. I mean, so it worked. I liked it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, there was a couple other things I want to talk about here. If you have something else you would think I'd keep going. I like when Foggy brought the suit to Daredevil, even though he didn't want him to be Daredevil anymore. He knew he had to do it.
Yeah.
And he's like, I brought you change clothes, and he leaves, and then Matt realizes, hey, oh crap, he gave me the suit. Like, that was a really cool scene. I liked how in the police station that Karen and Trish like talked and connected a little bit from Jessica Jones and Daredevil kind of mixed a little bit. I liked how they were mixing the side characters too. The only thing, one of the big things I didn't like about the ending was they didn't seem to care as much that Matt died. I mean, they did at first. Jessica, especially at first, when he said he was staying down there, she got really mad. She's like, "No, you're not." Like, no. But I mean, I know they did mourn. They all mourned.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a line that Luke Cage said, "If one of us had to die down in that hole, I'm glad it wasn't you," to Jessica. Which was cool that he didn't want her to die, but it's like, yeah, dude, Matt's dead.
Yeah.
He died.
Yeah.
Helping you guys. I mean, it was a little bit, I don't know. They didn't mourn him as much as I thought they would.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's
Danny did, but you know.
Well, yeah, Danny was upset, but that's just kind of where I got lost. Like, I felt like they killed off, or they want us to think that they killed off this character, and I'm like, first of all, why the hell would you even put that thought in our heads that that he dies?
Yeah, we know Daredevil season 3 is coming. It's been announced.
Yeah,
we know it's coming.
It just there was just so much more I felt that they could have done with that end scene. It was almost like they were just rushing to finish it and get it over with.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm thinking. Like when I said about the building collapsing thing, like I know that it's a movie or whatever, but like it's just the little things to me that stick out like that I'm like, it could have been done so much better and make it feel so much more realistic if
more impactful.
Yeah, if like you saw these kind of things, a 40 story building does not just come down with this tiny little poof and that's it.
And it wasn't even a controlled demolition. It was like
no, it was it was like they just placed some C4 on a beam that was supposed to be the center from the architect guy.
Yeah, well, I guess maybe it was more controlled.
It was a little bit.
Yeah,
but
because that's
still,
right. I forgot
like,
he left the plans on how to do it.
Yeah,
and where to put it. So
I don't know.
That makes more sense. I think about that, but still, they should have been quite a bit more blocks away.
Yeah, I think or at least like whenever the smoke or when it comes down, they're all covered in dust or something. Something to just add a little more reality to it. That whole thing is like, we just brought down the whole building in the hand. There was nothing there to kind of get that celebration out of.
Well, they were all mourning though.
But
Matt was in there.
Yeah.
But they didn't get their like moment in the sun kind of thing. And I know the Defenders aren't like that. That's not how they do that. There was a line in the last fight scene before they started fighting. I think Matt said it. The only way out of here is together. Like, I love that line. I love that he said it. And there was another point where he's like, this is great. We have each other. And Luke's like, what? He's like, I'm just saying, I'm glad we found each other. And Luke Cage's like, we're not hugging. Like, I thought it was a pretty funny moment, but it was also that Matt realized that he needed these people in his life. And he was the one that was so much against it at the beginning. Yeah. And then he's the one who came on board even probably the most towards the end, which is one of the reasons Daredevil's one of my favorite shows, because that actor playing Matt Murdock just kills it every time.
Yeah.
Like, just kills it. And I'm with you, Daredevil's like, these other shows, Luke Cage was great, Jessica Jones was amazing, but Daredevil's like on another level to me.
Yeah, I mean,
like what they've done with it was just...
That's what's drawn us in. I think that's what basically set the bar.
Jessica Jones was pretty close to it though, man.
Jessica Jones was great, but I mean, like, there's no way they could have just started a series out with Jessica Jones and expected a lot of us to just jump right on board.
Yeah.
I think they knew what their bread and butter was and who they needed to set this, get this whole ball rolling. Was Daredevil. I'm not gonna say that it wasn't done right in the movie, because I think there were certain aspects of the movie that were done pretty well, other than, you know, there was some cringing parts about that as well. The Ben Affleck movie.
The director's cut is actually a lot better than the theatrical is.
Yeah, I mean, people rip that movie apart anyway, but it's not that bad, and I freaking loved Bullseye's character in that movie.
Yeah.
But I think, they had to clean that up and get it back on track, and they knew it's a great series, and it's a great part of Marvel, and Daredevil's a kick-ass character. He's a kick-ass. He has a kick-ass storyline. So I think they knew what they knew what they had.
I was hoping for a Fisk cameo in this one for just a second, dude.
Yeah.
Like for the hand to go to him just to ask him a question or ask him about a property or just something like, you owe us this or this and you promised us this. Just to see Wilson Fisk for just a second for a Kingpin.
Perfect guy to play that character,
so
man.
Good.
He was
so terrifying,
so freaking demonic and evil, and
I hope he's back in season 3, man.
He has to be. There's no way. I mean, honestly, it won't be a Daredevil series without him. I mean, I don't care if he's even in there for an episode.
Yeah, that's it.
He has to be in there. Yeah. He has to.
There was a fight when Danny was fighting Elektra in the bottom, like when she first brought him down there. I thought that dynamic between those two characters, when you realize, even though they're not the same, they are the same in another aspect, because they were both trained from birth basically as warriors for like one purpose, like a destiny. Like Stick trained her, Kun Lun trained him. I mean, she brought it up like they were the same person, except she was actually fulfilling her destiny. And it was their fight in the bottom was another great when they were fighting, and with the choreography and the way her jacket moved as she was swinging punches, how it flowed around her, like was it a jacket? Yeah, she was wearing like a long jacket.
Yeah.
But as she was fighting and kicking, it was like spinning around in this beautiful motion. Like if I find like a GIF or something of it, I'm gonna stick it down below just so you guys can see it. It's just this beautiful. Like they did it more than once too. Just the flow of the cloth as it was moving as she was like fighting was just breathtakingly shot. Whoever directed a lot of these episodes did a great job. I hope they come back. And I hope they're some of the same directors from Daredevil, and even like some of the episodes of Iron Fist were shot beautifully. Just hope they keep some of these directors around that do well with that cinematography, or even if it's the cinematographer that picked that shot. Like, let's keep these people on board, because they really killed it with this show. There were a lot of shots in this show that they set up beautifully, like angles, and just the way that they used New York as a character when they were cutting back and forth. I love how all the shows have used New York as a character itself, and it's done it so well that you feel like it's a part of everything.
Yeah.
Like it's all about New York, and they talk about it, but in another show that just talks about New York is one thing. This shows it as a character. Like New York is its own character in this series, and in all these series, and it just brings it together so well. It's shot well, it's lit well, makes you feel like you're there, and that you feel for New York because that's where they are, and they have to fight to save it. Like, I just love the way they brought it in, and the way they shoot it, and the way they show it. It's like just fascinating to me how they do that.
Yeah.
How they made it look like it's a character in the show. Like New York is a character. Like the scenery where they go, like it was just beautiful. So yeah, there was a scene on the rooftop after the tremor where Alexander was standing on her, like I guess her terrace on top of her apartment complex behind that church.
Yeah. That
shot over the city in Central Park was just like perfect shot too. I mean, what do you think about how they used New York like that in that aspect, and how they showed it, how they connected it, made it feel like part of everything else?
Well, I always like that. I like how it's almost like they all come from these different parts of New York too. These boroughs where, you know, one's rich, one's poor, one lives in an apartment building with barely nothing. That's my favorite part of it. Is like they're all from these different parts of this huge city. And you kind of think about it too, when they first start meeting each other, you're like, hold on a sec, you guys all fight in the same city, you know, how have you not?
Exactly.
But like, New York's a big place, and I love the fact that there's one character that ties all of them together, and it's the nurse.
Oh, Claire, yeah, Claire Temple, yeah.
Claire basically is like, she is the one thing that has every one of them. She can she's been in every series, and she's the one that can bring that team together if anybody, if need be, because she's gained each one of theirs trust.
Yeah.
And that was what I loved about it too, is like, in this huge city, these four people have never met other than when Luke and Jessica met in their series. But Claire being there and being the one that can help, kind of get them all to start trusting each other too, if that needed be. I always thought that was a cool part of it.
Me too.
As well.
I agree 100% that Rosario Dawson kills it in that role, and then the fact they use her like that, and then she was when she found out that it was Danny that hit Luke, and she's like, you got to meet somebody, and brought him together and let her know that you guys are on the same side, you're fighting the same fight.
Yeah. And
they still kind of butted heads a little bit, but she still kind of pushed it, and yeah, I hope they continue to use her in that aspect in all the shows, even even though she's with Luke Cage now, like technically with him, I hope they still use her like with Daredevil, like if he calls her, she comes to help him, and I hope they continually weave her through the show so it feels that connected. So
they have to.
But yeah, that aspect of it is great too. I didn't even think about Claire Temple being the one that holds everything together. But yeah, she's great in and the fact that she was, well, I don't know how far you're in Iron Fist, so I'm not going to say much about it.
Oh, you won't ruin anything for me.
The fact that she's being trained by Colleen and is fighting a lot better and fighting more and getting into it with them, like I like that.
That explains the end scene, because she's beating the hell out of these bodyguard guys, and I'm sitting there thinking about it. I'm like, why? I was like, this chick's a nurse. I was like, how's she defending herself off from these big guys? Granted, I know she has a wrench, but that was now that kind of explains everything to me.
Yeah.
See, I whenever I seen that, there was another part of the show where I was just like, come on. I'm like, seriously? I was like, there's these three guys walking in, and they're huge bodyguard looking guys. They've got guns, they've got knives and swords, like, I guess, we still carry on swords, but she's sitting there fighting these guys off with a wrench and a sword, and I was like, I don't believe it.
Yeah, Claire had been training her for a little while.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that makes sense.
Yeah. To learn how to fight, it helps a lot. It helps her character, and that way she's not always a damsel in distress kind of thing.
Right.
It kind of helped put that out of that aspect of it, and I think that was a good idea to train her like that.
Right.
Trying to go through. Do you think this is the end of the Hand?
I don't think so. I mean, there's still fingers left. I mean, as cheesy as that sounds.
Well, actually, are there?
Yeah, Gal.
Gal was in the bottom.
Gal was in the bottom. I mean, we don't know if
she said it was the end.
Yeah,
we'll see. I hope Gal's not dead though.
If it is the end, it's because that there's only one left.
The Hand never goes away in the comics. It's always there.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't matter where it continues to come back. So it's such a great villain for all the shows that connect, and maybe branch in different directions with how they take it from here. So I do think there's a lot more they can do with the Hand. So I hope they don't get rid of it fully. It just kind of makes me think about what, who would the big bad be kind of thing for Defenders, the sequel. So
right.
Maybe the Hand comes back bigger, stronger, like, or somebody defects from Kunlun, like one of the higher monks takes over, whatever. There has to be something big to get them together. Like in the comics, it was Diamondback recently. Like Diamondback, the Defenders had to get together to beat Diamondback.
Yeah.
No, he's not that big of a badass.
That's kind of what I was wanting more out of this. I mean, I love the supervillain aspect. I love the big bad. You've got to come together to fight this guy. I mean, that's what we're getting in these Avenger movies is, these guys are coming together to not just take on some ordinary villain. They got to take on, Ultron. You got Thanos and all these coming together, and then you got these four, pretty strong, people with all these superpowers, and you're like, they're just taking on some ninjas. I mean, I know the Hand is extremely strong, but like, I just wanted a little more. Like I was hoping like that they would have to reach out and bring in somebody that to help take on these people that have superpowers. I know,
even though like you could tell the fingers of the hand had been around for a while and learned.
yes,
Like Gao knew how to use like her powers, but
yeah,
I think she's the only one who no.
she's
Alexander did at one point, I believe, maybe. But I don't think anybody could have beaten Alexander at face to face.
Yeah.
Gao. That's how powerful she apparently was.
yeah.
But yeah, to see that aspect, I agree with you a little bit on that. But it is an ancient shadow organization. It's been around for a really long time, and these people are probably almost like perfect at fighting now. From now, as old as they are.
Yeah.
They've learned everything you can learn, and everything new that comes out, they learn that. I mean, so, yeah.
Now, was the maybe I am a little further in the Iron Fist. The assassins, is that it from the Iron Fist? Remember, like, where they make him go through those rooms?
Oh yeah,
that's
yeah.
Iron Fist, isn't it?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought that was
Gao. Gao's tournament.
That's
yeah.
Gao. Yeah. See, that was something I liked.
That was a good.
It's
That
like,
was a good part of that show.
It's these people, it's these villains that have some kind of special ability, something about them that makes them stand out. They're not just some extra flipping around and getting tossed around and whatnot. Like I love that there's something unique about when they bring that to the table. It kind of makes you think like, damn, now I know Iron Fist has this glowing hand that can basically be like, what's he gonna do against this guy who has like he's a master with a sword and he's this, and that's I kind of was hoping that they were gonna do a little more with the Chinese guy who Alexander was saying he's
always spoke in Japanese.
Yeah, he's a pure psychopath. Like I was waiting for so much more from him to be like, what makes him a psychopath?
Yeah.
What is it? You don't ever see it. I mean, you don't see anything that crazy from him. And I was really wanting it. I was really like, those were just the small little details to me that like they talk about it and they bring it up, but then like they never deliver. And I was just left with just so much. I felt like there could have been so much more.
I did like the end that where Matt, of course, whispered something in Iron Fist's ear. We didn't know what it was until the end. He said that he told him to protect his city, and I did get emotional towards the end of it. I mean, there was a scene with Claire and Foggy when he came over to say something to him, and he talked to Luke about being, the city's not pressing charges, and there's nothing really happened. They're pushing it under the rug, and then when Claire walked him out, and he was, they were talking about Matt, and it was a little bit emotional for me. I like that. That's why I kind of wish at the end they would have left it like not shown that shot of Matt Murdock alive. Like wait, so we have to find out.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Make the last shot the one with Iron Fist on the rooftop, like maybe taking a spot for a while and doing what he wanted to do, and then show Matt Murdock alive in his series, or maybe only like an episode into it, then you find out he's alive in Daredevil season 3 or something. But let it hang for a minute. But I understand they showed it because they wanted people to think, well, okay, is Daredevil season 3 not happening?
Yeah.
So I mean, they did probably kind of thought about it for a minute and realized maybe you should put that in there. So I mean, one aspect I think there's a good reason to do it. There's another aspect of me thinks that maybe they shouldn't have done that because I wanted it to end emotionally like that instead of just showing him like, okay, he's alive, but did he die? And did they use the substance to bring him back to life?
Yeah.
So will he still be the same Daredevil? Like, there's a lot of questions. I know a lot of people are going to say they didn't have the substance anymore, but they got through that door to get it. That's what they were there for. They were using the Iron Fist to get through, to get the substance so they could all live forever again because none of them wanted to die. They've been around for so long. They knew what it was like to die. Basically, Alexander told Elektra, I know you've been through that darkness, that void where there's nothingness. It's horrifying, and I hope you never have to go back to it. I've been through it. I don't ever want to go back to it again because none of them want to die. They know what's back there waiting for them when they die. They don't want to die, so it's all about immortality and power and control with the hand. That's why I don't think they're over at all. And it really, really would be cool to reveal, like in season 3 Daredevil, that freaking Wilson Fisk took over the hand or something like that, or he's the new finger for for the hand, and he's going to find 4 more fingers. I don't know.
Yeah.
They could do something like that, or bring back Gal, which would be great because she's awesome. She even scared Fisk in the show, if you remember correctly, in Daredevil season 1. She was scared of him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was scared of her.
Scared of her, yeah.
He was scared of her. That's how powerful she was. So, but overall, I thought the show was done really well. There was some things I wish they could have done better here and there, of course, but the way they brought them all together at first at Midland Financial, and they all kind of came together and realized that, hey, I know you, hey, I know you, how do you know him? Who's he? But they all work together, and then Stick dies, and they kind of come together a little bit more. That, I also think they should have used the death of Stick another way instead of him trying to kill Danny. They use him to bring them more together.
Yeah. Like
they did with Coulson, the Avengers, but then it would have masked that. But so I understand why they did it, because Stick knew that Danny could not be taken by the hand because they needed him for a reason. And we found out the reason was because they wanted to live forever again. If they died this time, they were dead. If they found the substance again, they were fine. So they wanted to live forever. But overall, the show was done really well. The choreography was great. The acting was really done well. Even for some characters who weren't that great in their own solo series, stepped it up in this one. All the side characters were great. Foggy, Karen, Trish, all the great characters from the different shows. Detective Knight from Luke Cage. She's a great character too. Didn't talk about her. She's fantastic.
Love her.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is about her, but I love that character. And I've already seen where they want to do a spin-off with Colleen and her. Apparently,
that'd be cool.
They said there might be a spin-off series of them two.
I'd
be all right with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I do know in the comics, at one point, Danny Rand and Misty Knight get together. They're together.
Really?
So yeah, maybe down the road we'll see something like that. But and now that she doesn't have she lost half her arm, it's going to be very interesting to see how she moves forward. Maybe if they do that series, it'll be about Colleen helping her realize she's still as good as she was with just the handicap she has now. So it's going to be really interesting to see what they do moving forward with everybody's shows and the consequences of what happened here and what Iron Fist is going to. I mean, Iron Fist at the end, of course, saying that New York now feels more like home, and Colleen, of course, was loving that. That he wanted to stay there, and of course, I was just hoping at one point, at some point, that they would have told each other that they loved each other, because it didn't even happen at the end of Iron Fist. I mean, it still didn't happen. It's like, that's what's going on. Why don't you just say it? But they didn't. So I know that people say, well, it's obvious, but yeah, obvious or not, still, I just kind of wanted that little extra moment between those two. I do like their dynamic a lot. I love their characters together, but it was a really good series. It did well. I'm interested to see what they do for Defenders Season 2, but we're going to get Jessica Jones now, Luke Cage again, Iron Fist again, another Daredevil before we get them. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do. And we got Punisher series coming up too now. I mean, open for Moon Knight. Please, Marvel, give us a Moon Knight series. Just, that would fit so well into this, timeline with the Defenders and this character. I mean, I haven't read Moon Knight for a long time, but he's one of my favorite Marvel characters.
He's a nutcase.
Yeah, I know they've hinted at it and talked about it. We need Johnny Blaze in the Netflix universe too. We just need these characters that are dark enough that they won't work in the MCU, and they're based in New York. Because if I'm correct, Moon Knight's still based in New York, correct? So let's get these characters in here and expand upon it. So when we do the next Defenders, there's more characters to team up, or they call it something else, or just thinking of a lot of things they can do. So, but do you want to rate it?
Yeah, let's rate it.
We still want to continue to do. We're doing 1 through 10, aren't we?
We'll do 1 through 10.
Okay, yeah. I completely forgot what we were doing, and I did that with Iron Fist. So I'm pretty sure we've been doing 1 through 10 on all our stuff. So I'll let you go first. I'll let you rate it and let me know why you rated it that way.
I'm gonna give it a 7.5.
Okay.
I think that's about 3/4 of a way into the entire series is about how far I got into it, that I really, really liked it. That last quarter of the series, it lost me a little. I don't think it was bad, honestly. I'm not saying that it was bad, but I just feel like they did everything so perfectly and so well, and then it just got towards the end of that movie and they're like, or that show, and they were just like, let's get it done. It just felt rushed to me.
A little bit towards the end.
That's
the last
why I
little bit
felt
of it
so
felt
lost.
rushed,
It just
yeah.
they were just small.
Everything else worked, but it was like, you're right. The ending did feel a
Yeah.
tiny bit rushed, and we could have stretched it out a little bit more.
It's the details. It's the small little details that I don't see why. Like, you have the freedom to be able to do all this. You know, Netflix is basically just like, you do whatever you want. And why would you rush something, you know, like this with as big as it is? So that's the only reason why I say. I mean, the acting, like you said, the acting was great. The actors are great. They're perfect for the roles. I couldn't have asked for anything better. It just, like, all I wanted was that point when they're going down into that tunnel and they're starting to realize what they're up to. They just slowed things down, did a little more explaining, given a little more backstory to Alexandra. Just those little things, you know. You know, there was a few new characters thrown at us, and it was like they were introduced to us, ripped away immediately. I just felt like that was its only downfall.
Yeah. Another really quick moment I want to talk about that I forgot to talk about was when they're in the elevator and going up, and Elektra kills the elevator and causes the cable to break, but Jessica catches it and they have to climb it up and she lets it go.
Yeah.
That was a really cool moment that she caught the elevator like that.
Because even Danny was surprised. Like,
I know,
he
he's
looked
like,
up and he was like,
yeah,
what?
you caught the elevator.
Yeah.
But overall, like, I gave Iron Fist a 7 because of the ending. Last 4 episodes made it, because it was going to be like a 5.5, but the ending gave it a better rating. So I'm going to go the Defenders an 8.2, 8.3. Because Daredevil 1 and 2, I'm probably going to do like a 9.5 for both those, but that's why I'm going to do this a little bit lower, but higher than Iron Fist. So I'll just stick with an 8. We'll do an 8 for the Defenders. It was well done. I agree with you, though. The ending was a tiny bit rushed, and I was thinking about that while you were talking about it, and it was a little bit, it could have drawn it out, or drew it out a little bit more, just to kind of explain a little bit more, or like wrap everything up a little bit without trying to get it wrapped up so quickly, a neat bow that the bow came out and done. Mm-hmm. There was no neat tie-up at the end. And I know that's what they wanted to do, but yeah, and I do wish they would have explained a little bit more about the dragon remains. Like, that was Xiao Lao. That was the dragon from that Danny killed. That's what he said. I mean, he said this is Xiao Lao. That's the dragon.
Yeah.
Shou Lao. That's the name of the dragon that he killed to get the Iron Fist. I mean,
I would love to see something like. I would have loved to seen that.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that would have been.
There's a quick second of it in Iron Fist.
Is there?
Quick second.
Okay.
Yeah.
See, I honestly haven't made that far.
Because, like, I was gonna be disappointed if we didn't, because they talked about it. And I do like every time they talk about a dragon, like, they're like, really, a dragon? No, like, Luke Cage didn't believe him at all at first, and then he started talking about it, and then he kind of started believing him a little bit. So, but yeah, I'm excited to see what they do moving forward with all the other series. So that's our review on the Defenders from Marvel, the Netflix original. So hopefully maybe next time we talk about the Defenders, it'll be on Disney's own streaming service, because I wonder if they're gonna if Netflix is gonna keep the Marvel shows, because
That's a good
Disney
question.
pulled out of Netflix, so we'll see what happens. But hope you guys enjoyed the review. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, and there's a little bell next to after you subscribe that pops up. Hit that bell so you guys get notified every time we make new videos, so you guys can check them out. We're gonna try to do as many videos as we can. His schedule is coming up, is gonna get rough for his second job. My job schedule is going to get rough because I'm losing 2 guys, so it'll be just me and my boss running our store. It's going to get a lot worse, but we're going to try to cram some stuff in at least a couple times a week. Mm-hmm. The next movie we're going to be doing is going to be It, so that's coming up too. Hope you guys be ready for that. We're ready for that one, and it sounds like it's going to be in IMAX, so we're crossing our fingers they have it here in IMAX. But hope you guys enjoyed our discussion of Defenders today. I know it's a little bit longer, but this was an 8-episode arc, so you got to talk about a lot of the stuff that shows in it, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. And we appreciate your time, and hope you come back and check us out, and follow us on Twitter at The Geek Plan and Facebook.com/TheGeekPlan. And I got a new website coming up in the works that I will be working on hopefully in the next couple weeks, and we'll start getting some articles and links to our videos and stuff on there. So thanks, guys. We'll see you. I'm Jeff, as always.
And Jason.
And we'll see you guys next time. Later.